There was an attempted cover-up. It could only ever work if you allowed it, if the press allowed it. Some of us tried not to, and some of us were complicit.
The Biden White House did not like me. Okay, I do not have great connections with the Biden White House.
Well, clearly you have a lot of sources. You say you talked to over 200 sources for this book. So you have some you could have called and worked.
No, that's the point, is that they were not being honest. That's
how did the Wall Street Journal get it in June of 2024? And Jake Tapper and CNN couldn't find sources for this story then before?
I did ask Joe Biden.
Yes, Jack Tapper will never return to Megyn Kelly show. This same guy did a cover for Biden. We all saw that. I think I did a lot of videos about what was going on. He took a decision to write a book, like exposing everything we knew. Most of the things they are writing now, Trump was telling people every single day, Biden is this, Biden is that. Nobody was listening. Now, Jack Tapper thought it is important. He can use that to benefit. A few days after, boom, issue of cancer came out. Like, Biden has been diagnosed with that. Megyn Kelly sat down with him. What I saw during that interview is amazing. I want you to see it.
Over here in my ecosphere, we were covering all of these. It wasn't just falling down. It was getting lost. It was some of the stuff you report in your book, we knew and we were reporting on, like the multi-jump cuts in the videos of him, where it was obvious he couldn't get through a 1-minute take. It was clear to us that he was using teleprompter, and there was some reporting on that at the time, all of which the White House was denying. Now, the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none. But you did. There was an attempted cover-up. It could only ever work if you allowed it, if the press allowed it. Some of us tried not to, and some of us were complicit.
The Biden White House did not like me. Okay, I do not have great connections with the Biden White House.
Well, clearly you have a lot of sources. You say you talked to over 200 sources for this book. So you have some you could have called and worked.
No, that's the point, is that they were not being honest. That's
how did the Wall Street Journal get it in June of 2024? And Jake Tapper and CNN couldn't find sources for this story then before he dropped out?
Annie Linsky and Siobhan Hughes did an amazing job in their reporting. And they should be heralded, and I heralded them. I had them on my show right after the debate to talk about their great reporting. But Annie Linsky,
the debate, but you did not put them on when they published that story, which was before the debate.
Correct. I don't know what the booking situation was, but it wasn't because I didn't want them. I'm sure I said that day, let's book. I'm sure I said that day, let's book that. Did they?
Yeah, you put on a Democrat, and you allowed the Democrat to rip on the report as a Rupert Murdoch sponsored hit piece.
No.
It's just
Megyn.
Well, that's
Megyn,
what happened.
If we're going to do this, let's just stick to the facts here, okay? When there is a damaging report,
that's what I've been doing all along.
I'm talking about what you just said.
Didn't miss the biggest story of the century when it comes to presidential politics, and one of us did.
There is nothing Jack Tapper would tell me like he never knew what was happening. Yes. When you look at the way he covered Trump and Biden, two different people, I saw that Kamala came in, the same thing. If he was to bash Trump, this guy was doing it perfectly, knowing exactly what is happening. Now, look at what he's saying here. The Biden White House hated me. They didn't like me. Then you were, saying all that kind of things, to favor him. I have clips. I don't even want to go into that because a lot of people have seen that already. So saying this to me is annoying. Yes. If you love what I'm doing here, please subscribe, share the video, and if possible, check if your notification is on.
You know as well as I do that there's a way of, you can say, hey, there's this poll on your age, or you could say, you just forgot that Jackie Walorski was dead. You asked where she was moments after watching a videotape tribute to her. You lowered the flags at the White House after she died. This happened 13 days before you sat with him. There is a way of pressing a man like that on the actual infirmities to bring it home to him and to the audience, and you didn't do it.
That's correct. I didn't. And like I said, I feel humility about my coverage. I mean, it's not like I was asking him his favorite movie or his favorite color. We were talking about Putin. We were talking about other issues of national importance. But yeah, I mean, of course, I've said I look back at my coverage with humility, and I wish I did cover the issues of age and acuity, but I wish I had covered them much more. And I wish, I mean, of course, it's May 2025. Do I wish that in that 10, 15-minute interview I had with Biden in October 2022, that this had been the only subject because I had then
Well, it
what I
wasn't
know
just that,
now?
though, Jake. It wasn't just that. I mean, you sat with him a couple of times in the course of his presidency, and these issues
No, I
were not
didn't.
pressed. Well, there was
No,
at least that time, and then there was the time at the beginning. And but separate and apart from that,
Megan,
you
hold on,
covered the
hold on.
Biden's
I sat
presidency.
with-
No. Let me just finish my point.
I'm
You
just saying
covered the
I had
Biden
one
presidency.
interview with him during his. I had one
Okay,
interview
right.
with
And
him
it was
during the
13 days
presidency.
after the Jackie Walorski thing. But you covered the Biden presidency aggressively throughout the 4 years, and you didn't cover mental acuity hardly at all. I mean, time and time again, when issues came up, you seemed to be running cover for the president.
I don't
You didn't seem
think that's
interested.
true.
Well, I mean, we'll start with the Laura Trump issue that you referred. Here it is. This happened in 2020.
If Trump never won, you will not see a segment like this. I appreciate Megyn Kelly for actually doing this because he exposed these people to a level we already know. Look at what he's doing here, like a child, acknowledging everything. Oh, I was not doing that. I'm feeling humiliated. That's the truth. You call yourself a journalist, be able to do your job, forgetting about political affiliations. These people, you know, that is what they do with the mainstream media every single time, especially covering for the Democrat Party. But when it's Trump, they want to ask the necessary question. They want to ask everything. They want to fire him up. That is what I saw. So it's not something new. Seeing him here like a baby, it actually makes me happy because Megyn Kelly is doing the real job of a journalist here.
Our smorgasbord, based on what you thought would be a relatively uncomplicated story about mental decline. News has the countdown clock. They got the book graphics. They got the CNN Happy Meal tie-in toys. But now, doing the story seems almost disrespectful.
And that is a crime against this republic. And I think the Democrats are going to pay for a long time for being a part of what is now being revealed to be a massive cover-up.
So he's talking about Jake Tapper's new book that's coming out. But this isn't like a super conservative guy. As you can see, he quite literally said he loves Joe Biden. Van Jones is not Team Trump. But he is coming out here and saying what has been obvious to most of us. Well, I shouldn't say most of us. The people who don't perpetually believe whatever the Democrats tell them. The people who can think independently. Or even just people who don't subscribe to only Democratic media propaganda. Joe Biden struggling was very obvious if you looked and paid attention. You didn't even have to pay attention hard. You just had to look and you could see, oh yeah, he's struggling. But Democrats were telling you he's running around in the Oval Office, juggling knives, doing all types of crazy stuff. Oh, he's with it. He's the smartest man. He's blah, 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 blah. He's so fast. I can't keep up with him. All this stuff. They were gaslighting us. And I say they're gaslighting us not because I've read the book, because I haven't. I don't even know if the book is out yet. I'm just saying they were gaslighting us because I have eyes. I could see the man struggle to talk. I could see the man struggle to walk. I could see the man fall down multiple times, unnecessarily. I could see how he was stiff and could barely move. I could see how he has this confused, dazed look whenever he was places. And Democrats would look you square in the face and tell you, no, nothing is wrong. I actually might buy this book. I'm going to be curious to see. But to me, it's another sign. These people are not honest. These people do not care about what's best for the American people. These people care about winning.
He said it all. They don't care. They care about winning. That is all. Because that is just what they wanted to do. To win at the end of the day. Even as Biden was suffering, sometimes I will look at the situations. I took a decision at a certain point. I was not covering topics linking to him because, I don't always like to do some kind of videos, or say some kind of things to old people. Or when I see that you are passing through a situation, I don't know how to cover that kind of topics. I would just like to report the news. I stop. I think I'm going to end here. I don't want to make the video long. If you see any clip after this, that is just for the YouTube algorithm. If you've been watching me, you will notice it every time on my videos.
Guy, like we prosecuted him, convicted him of 34 felonies.
I think that I want to move on from why the Democratic Party lost, and I want to hear from the Democratic Party about how we are going to take our country back and how...
You want to help your partner, but that was his moment to knock out of the park any fear that he has cognitive decline, and it played into basically the worst assumptions, that he can't finish sentences and she had to help him out.
Van, I remember how emotional you were in the immediate moments after the June 27th, 2024 debate because of what you saw on the stage, and with all this new reporting coming out, and I should disclose that I gave both of you copies of the book so you would have a little bit more information.
And we're back to our daily segment.
If you're having some issues in your marriage.
And actually found a way to bitch and moan about how hard it is to live in the White House.
When you walk through a storm, keep your head held high. Show.
Big debate going on.
Think of Donald Trump's post this morning alleging that since I said I hate Taylor Swift,
will prevail.
It also shouldn't be racial.
Require Carmelo to run. He had
100.
Has been overwhelming. The lies in their amplification.
This is not going to end. Right is right and wrong is wrong. All good.
If you see any clips after this, that is just for the YouTube algorithm.
What if he says self-defense? There's no self-defense. Because kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution.
Again, the evidence is still coming in.
This is definitely a self-defense case because it always is one until you look at the facts of the case and compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor.
Bedroom, because she's fearful of what might happen to her.
followers for anything, and then
Registration Act is
talking about this man,
My summary of the first 100 days is that
if film and TV productions continue to
first term, and you will be very...
Once again, the field was littered with Wintour does every year. This Carmelo Anthony case.
Live in the White House. Many people
like a little unhinged drunk.
And black people don't want to live around ratchet black